Okay. Okay, I'll call this special council meeting to order. Madam Clerk, if you would provide us with the recitals.
Good evening. This is a hearing pursuant to Section 20, subsection 4 of the Development Charges Act, and deals with a complaint filed on January 9th, 2015 by Mr. Brent Fleming on behalf of Brixton Commercial Realty Advisors Ltd. regarding development charges for 487 Queen Street in the town of Newmarket. The purpose of this meeting is to hold a hearing and give the complainant the opportunity to make representations to the hearing panel, being counsel. Questions of clarification may be addressed at the end of each presentation. After hearing the evidence and submissions of the complainant, counsel may dismiss the complaint or rectify any incorrect determination or error that was the subject of the complaint. The clerk shall mail the complainant a notice, including counsel's decision and the last day for appealing the decision. The complainant may appeal the decision of counsel to the Ontario Municipal Board.
Thank you. Are there any declarations of pecuniary interest? Being none, I'll call on our solicitor, Madam Armchuckball, for your comments regarding the complaint received. Esther?
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor. This is a statutory hearing, as the Deputy Clerk had outlined. We are going to be hearing first from the appellant, who has presented written information, which is before you, and he will also be making a presentation. And in response to the appellant's evidence or presentation, you will be hearing from Mr. Nethery, the Director of Planning and Building Services, with respect to the town's position.
Thank you. Next item then is a presentation from Mr. Fleming. Mr. Fleming, if you could come forward, give us your presentation.
No. Actually, I'm not going to make a presentation. I'm not sure the protocol, but after seeing the response to my complaint, it's clear to me that I'm not going to be successful, so I'm just not going to waste everybody's time on it. Planning's done a thorough job on it, and it's relying on this multiple dwelling catch-all definition, so it's clear that I will fail. I hadn't seen the rationale before, so I wasn't sure if my concerns were being addressed. So it's good to see that it was good to see the defense, but the defense is not going to be surmountable. So I'm not going to do the presentation. I'm just basically giving up. The big picture. I just want to talk about the big picture for a minute. But the big picture is that the development charges for these units are too high based on the square footage and the occupancy levels. And it's not fair, but I've learned that fairness doesn't have anything to do with it. I'm not being bitter, I'm just saying that's the fact of it. In Toronto, they changed the regime to charge such buildings as apartments, and the reason they did is because Build pushed them to do so. Build's members in Toronto were building this kind of stuff, and Build made the changes happen. I talked to Build in York Region, and it's not on Build's members in York Region's agenda, so Build is not pushing this. In 10 years, Build's members up here, Minto, will be building this kind of stuff, and they'll make the change happen. But for me, I'm too early. I had the right issue. I'm too small. I'm right about it, but I'm going to fail. So I've worked hard enough on it. So I'm just giving up. I don't know about the protocol. I don't know if Richard still, Mr. Nethery still has to do a presentation, but I know we can do all this, and then it'll just get defeated. So you can worry about the protocol. On a positive note, I'm moving forward. The foundation's poured, and I've got lots of demand from seniors looking to downsize, and I'm going to be renting units in there in the fall, and I'm very excited about the project. So I'm just leaving this issue. I battled this issue for 2 years, and I took it as far as I could. And once I saw the defense, I had one little weakness in my argument, and lawyers found it, as they should. And once I saw that they found it, I thought, well, I'm done. So that's all I have to say.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, upon hearing Mr. Fleming's submissions, I wonder if he might be withdrawing his appeal at this point.
Yeah, whatever the protocol is, sure.
Okay.
Yes.
I just want clarification
Yeah.
for the adjudicative
Yeah, so I don't,
body
whatever
here.
the protocol is, that, you can expedite it as fast as you can, whether that's me withdrawing it or you going through your machinations, and whatever is fastest and easiest for you guys.
All right, if Mr. Fleming is proposing to withdraw the complaint, then this council does not need to hear from the town, and I think the hearing is at an end at that point.
Is that your wish?
Yeah,
Mr.
I
Fleming?
just wanted to come up and say my piece. In 10 years, these things will be charged properly. And, I'm too early. Too small, too early.
Thank you. The motion, and with the withdrawal then at this point, it would be appropriate to adjourn this consideration. Okay, thank you. First, let's receive Mr. Fleming's deputation and also the letter from Mr. Fleming, and then at the same time that the presentation and the As a matter of record, should we be receiving all the other information? I guess not. There's no point in going forward if the complaint has been withdrawn. Is that correct, Madam Solicitor? Okay, good.
Mr. Mayor, and the
Okay.
Minutes will reflect that the complaint was withdrawn by the appellant.
Okay,
Make a motion
thank
to
you. Motion to,
receive the withdrawal.
okay. Seconder, Councillor Kerwin. Some discussion on that, or we'll deal with that at this point since Mr. Fleming has made a decision? Okay, thank you. And, okay. Still a motion, that's correct. Let's receive the deputation. No, the withdrawal has been moved. So we should receive the presentation of correspondence and the deputation. So that's Councillor Bay's motion and Regional Councillor's motion. All those in favor of that? And that is carried. And then the motion to receive the withdrawal, and there's some discussion. Thank you. And we're back to pushing buttons. Yeah. Okay, Councillor Twinney. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Mr. Fleming. Now, discussion on the motion with respect to receiving the withdrawal motion or request.
Thank
Regional
you.
Councillor?
Yeah, I would like to make a quick comment, and I mean, it's been withdrawn, so I won't belabor the point. But I do believe that technically, as has been pointed out by the deputy, technically there is something we can point to that supports our interpretation. But I have to say, on the bigger picture, I do agree that we need to look to change this to this regime and the way we approach stacked townhomes of an indistinct nature and, frankly, rental units in the future. And I have to say as well that I think from a technical perspective, we have what we can point to, and perhaps because we can point to it, we need to be consistent. But I would have to say that in a purely fairness perspective, as a person looking at what's fair, I feel that this building has as much in common, if not more in common, with an apartment than it does with stacked townhomes, recognizing that that's why it's been distinguished otherwise. But it's, I have to say, when you look at an apartment building somewhere in town that has roughly 15 units in it, that's a square box, that happens to have 2 entrances out to the street, this isn't dramatically different than that. But we're treating it differently because of some of the wording, et cetera, and at least that's how I feel. And so I do agree. I accept the frustration of the deputant, and I do think that in time it will change, and hopefully we have a chance to revisit this and look at some of the practices in other jurisdictions and try to get a more equitable solution. Thank you.
Thank you. Councillor Sponga.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Along the same lines, I understand and support the technical argument of the municipality, although I'll tell you, I did put a lot of research, a lot of time into trying to understand it, and I found myself in quite a bit of a quandary in a number themes and a number of issues around the hearing tonight. Having said that, along the same line, I believe that Regional Council has pointed out, I think you bring good value to this municipality with your project, and I hope that in the future you'll see the benefit of continuing to invest and continue to develop much-needed rental units in our town, and especially in our downtown area. And on the basis of that, I wonder if, I don't know if this is the appropriate time to ask this question, but I'll throw it out there, and perhaps you can raise this question on your own in another forum. But I wonder if you've ever given any thought in perhaps sitting down with the municipality and negotiating that difference in terms of a deferral, so that you could attach perhaps that difference in what you believe you should be paying versus what the municipalities clearly states should be paid on a deferral or a payment plan. And I'll leave that to you. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we have the motion that we receive the withdrawal of the complaint. All those in favor? And that is carried. Next item then is confirmatory bylaw 2015-09. Councillor Sponga, seconded by Councillor Broom-Plumley. All those in favor? And that is carried. Motion to adjourn. Regional Councillor, Councillor Twinney. All those in favor? We're adjourned. Thank you. 1:45 is. Yeah.